one of the big questions. How do you get in there, as a makeup artist?
My boyfriend at the time got me a makeup kit for Christmas. And I started messing around and doing makeups, and you posted online, like, this is something I'm playing with. And then I left tour, and my friend was Simba in The Lion King, and he said, you should come and check out the makeups here. I said, absolutely, that'd be amazing. And I came in as a working actor, and I just stayed out of the way, and I just watched, and everyone was super cool. And then the other makeup artists were like, oh, I'd love to see your makeup. And so I pulled up my little Instagram, and I showed them stuff I was working on. And then I didn't get to talk with the supervisor because she was very busy. And then so I wrote a little thank you card, and she was like, hey, I'd love to get together for coffee. We got together for coffee. She looked at my stuff, and she was like, hey, if you ever want to swing here, we're actually looking for some new swings. And
that means for all of you coming in and covering for somebody who's out doing something else or taking their vacation.
Or to have a sick day.
Right.
And for 2 years, I was swinging into Wicked as a dancer. And then other weeks I would be doing Beetlejuice or Lion King as a makeup artist. And
so that's really the best of all worlds.
It was a dream for a year and a half, and then pandemic happened. Right. So it was the most beautiful transition that I didn't ask for.
And then when the pandemic happened, was your takeaway from that, I'm just really going to focus mostly on makeup and body painting, or
no, I didn't make any active decisions with this. Things started to open back up. Broadway did not. But what did? TV film. Mm-hmm. So I was doing makeup on TV film sets for about a year and change before Broadway opened up. And then at that point, I hadn't danced in 3 years. So I was like, well, this career is blossoming. And so I just leaned into it.
And it's very creative. So
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just wonderful. We're going to take another offering and then more with Ryan. We'll be right back. So we're back. Ryan, oh my gosh, I have so many questions because it's kind of exciting. It's more than kind of exciting. With doing film, doing TV and stage, and then possibly even, I don't know if sometimes you do fashion or runway stuff for people. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you get asked to do that, probably even weddings once in a while. I mean, who knows? Is there a different mindset you have to have for each one of those? I mean, you have a certain artistry with your hands and the work. Do you have to be a different kind of way or think in a different way for any of those, or does it all kind of?
I mean, I think key to success is, again, knowing your lane, reading a room, and again, being likable. So the thing is, you come in and sometimes you get that energy and everyone wants to kiki, everyone wants to have fun. Then you're laughing and you're having a good time and you can bring your personality out. And other times it's a very focused room, and your job is just to make sure you keep the atmosphere calm. And so,
or if somebody's having an extremely emotional thing, then you got to just kind of be.
Sometimes you're a therapist, or sometimes it's your job just to let them vent, and then you do your job. You know?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've been very lucky in that I've always done a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. When I was a performer, I was a teacher, I was a choreographer. Then I started doing makeup, and then at one point I was doing all the things. I was doing makeup, I was performing, I was teaching, I was juggling a lot. And my favorite takeaway is that if you're doing a lot of different things, you never lose the joy. Because when you do one thing and you're lucky enough to have a career doing one thing, eventually the weight of having to do the one thing is exhausting. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have to do this because I need my insurance. I have to do this because I have to pay my bills. But when you do multiple things, you can lean into it and let it fuel your creative tank.
Right.
Versus when you're doing
it's like
one
your
thing.
Lifeline. Yeah.
Yes, and then it feels like a hustle as opposed to a passion. Mm-hmm. And so I've been very lucky to have passions organically happen and then organically blossom.
Right, and you get to keep the joy in all of it, which
Correct.
is really, really great. I wanted to ask you, with that and working with all these different people and in theater, and I want you to share about what your next big foray is.
Okay.
It's very exciting. You're going to be the makeup supervisor on Death Becomes Her. Yes. So in an event like that, or in anything, I was thinking in terms of, because I'm a theater person, and I had to do, I had to play old people when I was really young because I'm a character person. So I was always doing interesting things. But what's it like when you do your own makeup and things like that? It's part of your preparation for your character too. What's it like to actually be like? So you're used to being on the stage and you perform on the stage. You're an actor, dancer. Now you get to be integral with the person, like whatever you create or help them do on their face sets them get ready to get on stage and be whoever they are. So what's it like to kind of be like sort of like the vein or blood inside of a person's character? Do you know what I mean? Because it helps them be who. I mean, when you get your costume, you get your blocking, you do this, you get every layer makes like. Some of that makeup can change exactly how they do part of their role.
1000%. Yeah. So sometimes like a character just comes to you. You know exactly who that character is, and other times you discover the character based on like blocking, based on costume, based on makeup, based on anything like that. And so it is really exciting to develop that with an actor because like we all have our little idiosyncrasies. Like, oh, well, I really like this, or I feel very insecure about this, and you start to get like a true connection, be like, okay, this is what is going to make this artist feel their best, or leaning into this scene they really love when I lean into this, or knowing what they like as or need as an actor. Like sometimes they like going into this part of the show or this part of the week, it's about giving them their space, or it's about hyping them up, being their like
cheerleader.
Yeah, being their cheerleader. And so I know that as an actor what I needed, and so it's kind of cool to be able to provide that now as
a support.
Part of the team.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is cool because a lot of makeup artists are, I don't want to say just makeup artists, they're not coming from the background. You have been in the place most of these people have to go, whether it's on stage or in front of a camera or whatever. So it brings another layer of your sensitivity to working with them, which is really, really very exciting.
And I always say this too, I'm like, we're blessed to do what we do, but we play make pretend. It's not that deep. And I think sometimes when we get very heated and we feel the weight of things, it's nice to have that perspective brought back in.
You're back to play, like when you were in kindergarten.
Exactly. Which is why we love it, which is why we're artists. Like we like to see all the different things that we can do, get the reactions, find the chemistry,
Right, and it's different it's just like when you're on stage, you don't want the same line reading. I mean, it's the same line, but it's just different. Or when you're dancing, even certain things just happen and change. So I want to also talk about what it's like to be responsible for like you are now the supervisor over the whole show, which is going to open. Well, by the time this airs, it will be open. But you're getting in the throes of it right now. What is that like? What is the gravity, if there is one in that? And how many people do you have to have supporting the actors, so to speak,
Sure. Well, it all comes down to there's a design, right? Joe DeLude is the designer. And if he can't be there, then Suki Sujimoto comes in. She's the associate designer, also a Broadway designer. And she'll come in and maintain what it looks like from the front of the house, because I'm doing cues throughout the entire show. So my show starts hour and a half before the show, and I go all the way through bows with my cues. So
do you change makeup on people during the show? See, I've never asked that. I was thinking this while we're sitting here because college stuff, you don't change it much unless you're getting older or something. But there's different scenes and things happen. So there's like the quick changes that we know. There must be quick makeup too.
Absolutely, yeah. And so my job as the supervisor is sometimes it's to be the makeup artist, which is to apply the makeup during the show, and other times it's to be the guardian and make sure that the continuity is happening. Also, we're organic beasts, so every time, seasonally, some people's skin might have a reaction, so it's my job to make sure that they're being taken care of. They or we're able to change products if need be. But again, it's all to support the actors to be able to do their job, but also to maintain the design so that the show has artistic integrity.